Hello, everybody. Today I'll be talking about fourth person perspective. I know this is a touchy subject for a lot, it's a difficult subject to comprehend. I will give a few examples and hopefully clear up some of the confusion within this. Otherwise, starting off, fourth person perspective is a variety of beginning with first person perspective, I, you, audience, to third person perspective. Then it's breaking the fourth wall to talk to the reader, similar to second person perspective, though not in what you would see in a choose your own adventure book or what you would see if you're reading a sign in a book or a pamphlet, something like that. The fourth person perspective is again the variety of the first person perspective, third person, and a little bit of something similar to second person perspective where it breaks the fourth wall to the reader. From this particular example, just to start off, I know there's a lot of people with different religious views, religious debates. I don't want to get into that within this channel. I want to keep it fun. Within using the example, it is just an example. If it offends, just click out now because that's just it. It is harder for a lot of people to comprehend fourth person perspective because of being closed-minded. Now, this is just an example. So Matthew chapter 7 verse 5, the sentence goes, "Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, and then you shall see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." So when you read the sentence, you see it starts off with hypocrite. That's talking within the verse to the disciples or to the collective audience. It's talking about the subject matter, remove the plank from your own eye. That's talking within the first person perspective. Then you shall see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. That's talking third person perspective. When this is done, it is someone, best example, you see this in certain stories where a professor is at a university talking to an audience, but it's projecting to the reader. This is where fourth person perspective is extremely effective because you're sending a message to the audience in the book, then to the reader. And that is where fourth person perspective is more likely to carry on generations later. I'm going to give an example of second person perspective from a famous scene at the end of a movie. This is about Schmidt. With this particular scene, just pulling up the photos, it goes through with him reading a letter narrated by a nun who is working in with a child who has been sponsored by Schmidt to having his eyesight returned. And then there's the painting of the picture. This scene is extremely effective. It is extremely tear-wrenching because of how it's projected to the viewer. If this was done in a book, it'd be the same. Now, this stays in second person perspective, even though it's projected in that effective way. Reading a letter in a book is second person perspective. Fourth person perspective can be very overwhelming. It can be very effective when we talk about what's previously said with university or a camp or whatever, where someone is speaking to a collective audience. Now, it is also an extremely effective way to ending a particular book series. It is an effective way to basically the final resolution to the conflicts. If we're talking about standalone books, this is extremely effective. I'm not going to completely reference the book Mrs. Doubtfire, only because I have not read it. However, within the end movie, it's extremely effective. When we're comparing the ending to about Schmidt, when we're talking about sponsoring a child, having their eyesight returned, we're talking a small cost. When we're talking about legal issues, especially family court, it is ridiculously expensive. usually because it doesn't completely come to resolution, and in a lot of cases it is extremely difficult to getting to resolution. This particular movie came to a very positive resolution, even though the two parents are divorced and remain divorced. Now, besides the actions of Mrs. Doubtfire being highly questionable, within the final scene, you have Mrs. Doubtfire on the TV talking, and the mother is listening. During the time, there's a lot of other things happening where the other characters, it's showing them getting with the children spending time with their father. That's very good. Now, to my point, watching the TV, when you hear what is said, even though he's reading a letter, as previously mentioned to about Schmidt, when he's reading the letter, it is projecting to a wide audience. It's projecting from the TV to someone else in the script, and then it's projecting to the reader, the viewer, sorry. Now, what is said is worded in that particular way where there's a reassurance to the child who wrote into the show. It is also another way of projecting. Is he saying within the reassurance everything's going to be all right, Poppet? Is he talking to his child, his youngest child, being the most vulnerable character, if you want to say, within the story at that age, and the most impacted by this type of situation? Or is it sending a message to a lot of other people out there who are really struggling? More so, what I want to say, fourth person perspective is extremely effective if you want to send a message about a particular subject to a wider audience. Comparing the resolutions between about Schmidt and Mrs. Doubtfire, it does make us think, do we need to really consider how we operate a lot of things in our first world society when we compare human rights somewhere else? There is a lot to consider. So maybe writing fourth person perspective to end your book or open your book might even be what is encouraged. Now, otherwise, that's it for today. Hit like, subscribe, comment. Please keep comments civil, even though there was a religious point mentioned earlier. Please, I'd like to keep this channel fun, civil, and more informative. Otherwise, I'll be doing more book reviews, more videos on how to write, and there will be a lot of other subject matter to discuss. And hopefully, with each video I do, I hope the viewer gets something out of each topic. Otherwise, that's it for today, and I'll see you all next time. Maybe in the fourth person.